Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight into it. So today's lesson is going to be part 4 of the Sun God Worship Agenda. And now we're going to be talking about Christianity, the religion known as Christianity, which has over 2 billion followers today. And how this is nothing but sun God worship. Okay. Osiris worship, Tammuz worship, Adonis, Molech, whatever name you want to throw out there for the different sun deities. That's all it really is. And all those deities I just mentioned is really, if you want to put it in this way, it's really all just satanic. So what I am saying is Christianity is a satanic religion. Now that may sound crazy to some people because, if you came up in a church system like I did, then you're taught that is the way. But really, Christianity, all that is outside of just being sun God worship on the surface level, it's just something that people can hide behind. You know, you could say that you're an adherent of Christianity or you're a Christian and just be lukewarm. Go to church here and there. Claim to pull a scripture here and there that you like, and really nobody bats an eye because that's what everybody else is doing. So you just get to hide behind that religion and act like you're following the Most High and His Son, but you really are not at all. Matter of fact, you're really an adherent to Tammuz. Okay, the church system is the house of Tammuz. All right. But I'm going to prove all these things that I'm talking about right now. Let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and let's start at verse 10. It says, "To whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything, to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Hamashiach," or Christ. "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." So we cannot be ignorant of Satan's devices. One of Satan's devices is to have, billions of people believe one thing to make it popular and something that, most people adhere to, like the religion known as Christianity. So that way, you won't question it because you'll assume that it's correct just based on the amount of people that believe the same thing. Just because billions of people believe something does not mean that it's true. Okay, and you put your faith in these quote unquote pastors and different leaders like Joel Osteen and what's his name, Jake, the one with the pot belly. That mug, whatever his name is, I might put it on the screen if I remember. But all these different pastors and things like that, you put your faith into them, thinking that they know the answers and they know the scriptures, but they're really priests of Baal, to be honest. Okay, let's get Revelation chapter 3, verse 14. It says, "And unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans, write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of the Most High. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert hot." I'm just starting from the beginning. "I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot." Meaning I would prefer you to be cold or hot. Okay, this is what Yahushua is saying to this church at Laodicea, but also applies to us too. Verse 16, "So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth." So what this means is being hot or cold, meaning you're either on the right hand path or you're on the left hand path. There is no in between. So you're either for the Most High and His Son, being Hamashiach, Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Okay, You're either for them in the spirit of truth, or you're on the left hand path. Okay, so when people, if you understand that, then it'll really help you understand that all the different things that you see in the world is all pagan. Okay, if it's not here in this Bible, it's pagan. Like I saw, every year that quote unquote Mother's Day comes around, which it's been like 2 weeks since quote unquote Mother's Day at the time I'm recording this. But a lot of people ask, those of us that know who we are and that we're supposed to keep the statute, laws, and commandments, they'll ask, hey, is Mother's Day pagan? Yeah, it is, because is that actually here in the scriptures? Okay. Pagan meaning it's man-made. Okay. That's all that really means at the end of the day. Man-made, which just means it was devised of an idol. All right. So speaking of, this is the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. And what we're going to do is, let's start at verse 9. It says, for the ungodly in his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto the Most High. So they teach you in church for the most part that God hates the sin, not the sinner. No, both are alike hateful unto the Most High, the sin and the sinner. Okay, there's no separation from a sinner and the sin. All right. Now, I'm not saying that you or all of us don't have the chance of repentance. And well, I say all of us, meaning the children of the Most High, that all of us have, the chance of repentance. But what I am saying is that there is no separation, meaning, oh, God doesn't hate you. He just hates the sin that you do. No, both are hateful to the Most High. Anyways, verse 10, for that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Okay, do y'all know what that means there? Which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. All right, the sinner and the sinner. Those that create idols, that are into idol worship, will be punished together with their works. Verse 11, therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles, of the other nations, there shall be a visitation, because the creature of the Most High, they are become an abomination. In the creature of the Most High, they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. Okay. Remember, we brought this out a few times, that the gods of the nations are idols. All right. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. Adam and Eve's sin, their iniquity, that first sin, was the devising of idols, okay, which was based on sun god worship, all right, or just worship of not just the sun, but of the moon and the other planets too as well, and the stars. That's the beginning of spiritual fornication. And that's where you get pagan gods from right now. They're all really based on planetary worship, honestly. And that's why we're here. This is the sun god worship agenda. So we can see these different devising of idols in the modern world, and see how different religions like Christianity are based completely around it. And we know to distance ourselves from that if the goal for us is to, come closer to the Most High and keep his statute, laws, and commandments, and putting him first, and having, having a way into the kingdom, at least, Lord willing. If that's the goal, then we have to stay away from these things. Verse 13, for neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever, meaning the pagan gods or the idols. All right, which was the invention of them was the corruption of life. Okay, as long as there are pagan gods in this world, life is going to be corrupted, but it's not going to end until the ending. All right, When I say it's not going to end until the ending, until Yahushua comes back, there will be pagan gods. Okay, there will be pagan god worship. It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. Okay. So, brothers and sisters got to cope with that. The different things that we see in this world is just going to get worse. So you can't really marvel at these things and marvel when our people are, stuck in these things, because it's, that's just how it's supposed to be. Okay, that's prophecy. All right, verse 14, for by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. Yeah, when Yahushua comes back, that's when the sun god worship, moon god worship, the different planets, it's going to come to an end. And we're going to go into that more at the end of this lesson. We're going to pull some more scriptures on that. It says, verse 15, for a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. We'll be reading about a lot of different ceremonies and sacrifices of today that are really just sun god worship ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time and ungodly custom grown strong, Christianity is an ungodly custom grown strong. It's grown strong because, again, it has billions of adherents. But it's an ungodly custom because all the different customs of the pagan church system, and I mean that, it doesn't matter what part of Christianity that you claim to be in, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah Witness, Baptist, non-denominational, which is a denomination. Whatever the case is, it's an ungodly custom, because most of the things that you see is not in the scriptures at all. Okay, that means it's ungodly because, remember, we read, you either hot or you cold, you either righteous or you wicked. There is no in between. Okay, at the time of judgment, the Most High and the Son is not going to be like, well, you're not going to be in the kingdom, but we're not going to cast you off either. We're just going to kind of keep you in the middle there. It ain't no middle, man. All right. It's either righteous or wicked, right or left, hot or cold. And that's why I say that Christianity is an ungodly custom, grown strong. Was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. Now, let's look more into this, where it says was kept as a law, and why I say that Christianity is an ungodly custom that's now kept as a law. Let's look at an example here. Let's look at the the day of the week, Sunday. All right, let's look at this from this article here from Britannica. Sunday, day of the week, also known as Lord's Day. It says Sunday, the first day of the week. It is regarded by most Christians as the Lord's Day. Something as simple as this can go right over your head if you're not paying attention. Because how is Sunday the Lord's Day? How is it the Lord's Day? I thought that the Sabbath was the Lord's Day. Let's keep reading though, because we're going to prove that where it says Lord's Day here, it's not talking about Christ of the Bible when it says Lord here. Okay. It says, or the weekly memorial of Jesus Christ's resurrection from the dead. Where is this in the Bible that you're supposed to have a weekly memorial of Jesus Christ's resurrection from the dead? Where is that at? Where's the scripture on that? The practice of Christians gathering together for worship on Sunday dates back to apostolic times, but details of the actual development of the custom are not clear. So you're just keeping something that's not clear. All right. That's what it comes down to. If it's in the scriptures, it would be clear. If you're doing something that the Most High has instructed, when I say the Most High, I mean God of the Bible, If he instructed it, it will be clear. But this custom is not clear. It says here, verse 10 of the first chapter of the Revelation to John, meaning just the book of Revelation, where it says here, Revelation to John, mentions the Lord's Day. This was subsequently interpreted by most commentators as a reference to Sunday. Why though? Why though? Why does most commentators interpret that as Sunday? There's no proof of that in the scriptures. But let's get that real quick, actually. Okay, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, in verse 8. It says, "For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day." The Sabbath day is not Sunday. Okay? And even if you are an adherent to the lunar Sabbath, even if you are, which I am not, but even if you are, for you, your Sabbath day would not be on Sunday every single Sabbath. But for those of us that don't adhere to that, we know that, Sunday is not the Sabbath. Sunday is the first day of the week. The Sabbath, or the seventh day, is what we call today as Saturday. Okay. Saturday is just a name on top of what it really is, which is just the seventh day. Okay. It doesn't really matter what it's called. It's just the seventh day. Okay. But the Son of Man is Lord of the seventh day, not of Sunday, which is the first day of the week, as it says here. So who is this Lord talking about then? It says most Christians is regarded by most Christians as the Lord's Day. Let's get Romans chapter 11 and let's see. Verse 4. It says, "But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal." So we know this is in reference to, I believe, 1 Kings chapter 18 with Elijah and the priests of Baal. Let's keep going. It says, "Even so then at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace." So this just means that, think about it like this. Just how in the times of Elijah, where you had only a small remnant of 7,000 men that had not bowed into the image of Baal or this pagan deity, which we're about to read more about. In this present time, there's only a remnant. There's only a small amount of people that don't bow into the image of Baal. So if you understand this passage right here, you understand that Christianity cannot be the way, because there's a lot more than a remnant or a small amount of 7,000 men. Of course, that's not literal in present time. I'm just meaning a remnant. Just a remnant of our people are not going to bow to the image of Baal. And that's why we're going over this lesson, so we will understand what is the image of Baal. What does that even mean? All right, Baal is a sun god that many of our people, and of course all nations, have bowed the knee to. Okay. Actually, let's just go into it now. Even again, verse 5, Romans chapter 11, verse 5, one more time. "Even so then at this present time," and of course, Paul was referring to that present time at that point, but this still goes into today too. "Also there is a remnant according to the election of grace." We did a lesson on Romans chapter 11 if you want to go back and look at the whole lesson. But for now, let's kind of just go into what we have here for the word Baal in the concordance. Okay. It's G 896 Baal. Baal equals Lord. The supreme male divinity of the Phoenician and Canaanitish nations, as Asheroth was the supreme female divinity. Baal means Lord. So where it says, most Christians regard Sunday as the Lord's Day, they're really talking about Baal. Baal also means Lord. Okay. Now, let me be very clear in saying this. I'm not saying that if you say the word Lord, you're referring to Baal, because that is, I won't say a popular doctrine, but it's starting to become a little bit more popular for brothers and sisters to say that. And I had a brother try to argue me down about that, brother try to fight me, man, in the gym. Brother try to fight me in the gym, man. I'm trying to get a workout in, and brother, you can't say Lord no more. That means Baal. Okay, brother. But anyways, so no, that's not how language works. But that is another translation for the word Lord is Baal. Okay, if you say the word Lord like it's written in the Bible, that doesn't mean that you're referring to Baal. However, that is one of the translations for Baal is Lord. So if you are an adherent to Baal, you would call him Lord. All right. So let's see. Did we have a little bit more here? Since this form, the supreme power of nature, so consequently a male deity was worshipped. Did I have something else I wanted to cover here? The Jews avoid uttering a horror name of Baal. Not really. Saying the word Baal, it says Exodus 23:13. In all things I have said unto you, circumspect, make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. It's not literal from the standpoint of saying you, if you say another pagan god's name, are you breaking this commandment? I mean, have no reference, no reverence to that God, or no worship of it. Because we know, again, and like I was saying in 1 Kings chapter 18, that Elijah, I believe he said Baal there. And of course, he was a righteous man. He wouldn't do that if that was part of the commandments. But anyways, point is, Baal is Lord. So where it says Lord, the Lord's day, this is Baal's day. If you are a Christian and you adhere to that, okay, whether you know that or not. And that's why it was set up this way, okay, because Baal is a sun god. Let's go here. It says Baal. Baal was a title and honorific meaning owner, Lord, in the Northwest Semitic languages spoken in the Levant during antiquity. From its use among people, it came to be applied to the gods. So the word Baal, or the name Baal, the god Baal, is an honorific title. It's more of a title, or it can be a title per se. It is a pagan god in itself, but it also can be a title meaning owner or lord. Okay. And another word for lord would be like a master. But just to touch this really quickly, Sarah called Abraham Lord. So was she calling him Baal? No, so it doesn't mean, when you see the word Baal, it doesn't literally mean, when you see the word Lord in the scriptures, it doesn't mean Baal. And if you saying the word Lord out loud, it doesn't mean you referencing Baal. But anyways, it says scholars previously associated the theonym with solar cults because Baal is a solar god or a sun god. You understand? This is the sun god worship agenda. So let's get more on that. And something really quickly I had pulled up while we looking at this. If you see this little figurine of Baal, you'll notice that he has a hand up. It looks like a fist, right? Just to let you know, if you didn't know, when you see the raised fist, it says the raised fist or the clenched fist is a long-standing image of mixed meaning, often a symbol for political solidarity. It is also a common symbol of anti-fascism, socialism, communism, anarchism, and other revolutionary social movements. So when you see this fists. Like we have this Black Power fist with the Black Panthers, and you'll see this fist all the time, and it's really just. And look at this brother right here. This is with the George Floyd protest. Brother have no idea what's going on out here. Oh, begging, stop killing us. Okay, like a so-called white cop is gonna see this and be like, you know what, this man out here begging, so let me not kill. What he's really doing is, you see, he's kneeling down. What he's actually doing, whether he understands that or not, is he's really bowing the knee to Baal, to the image of Baal. He just don't understand that, more than likely. But really, I think they put that image there on purpose. Not that he knows, but they know what they were doing. Let's get Romans chapter 11 and verse 4 again. It says, "But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal." That's exactly what this brother is doing, bowing to the knee of the image of Baal. And why do I say the image of Baal? Because again, if you notice, this image of Baal here has a clenched fist. Anytime you see that clenched fist, it's actually just a symbol of Baal, or the various pagan gods. Okay, and that's why they attached it to the Black Panthers and communism, so on and so forth, because it's also just a form of chaos. And Baal is also a god of chaos. Okay, and that's why you see that clenched fist. Now, this is a whole, you see again, anytime you see that, and this also is for as above, so below. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to go into it in this lesson, but, just look it up. Google, or just look up the Wikipedia page, as above, so below, if you're not familiar. But that's what that clenched fist means. And that brother is bowing down to the image of Baal, begging for the so-called white man to save him, whether he knows that or not. Stop killing us. Pathetic. Okay, with a clenched fist of Baal. But anyway, that was a side note. But the point is that, when you see Sunday being called the Lord's Day, that's a coded way of saying that this is a day of the sun god, Baal, or the different various names of the sun god. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's get 2 Kings chapter 23 and verse 4. It says reforms under Josiah. All right, matter of fact, I'm going to skip down for the sake of time to verse 5. It says, "And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven." So our people, we worship Baal. We burn incense unto Baal, and to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets. Like I said, really all pagan gods pretty much go back to the worship of the planets. And the worship of planets, it really, they all go back to Adam. Okay? And if that doesn't make sense to you, or that's something you never heard before, it's okay. We're going to continue to talk about these things. But Nimrod of the scriptures and Adam of the scriptures, they were really the first sun gods. Okay. But anyways, let's go into this Wikipedia page for Sunday again. Let's kind of grab a little bit more so we can get a better understanding. It says Sunday is a day of the week between Saturday and Monday. In most Western countries, Sunday is a day of rest and a part of the weekend. Why is Sunday the day of rest? Shouldn't that be the Sabbath? That's what the scriptures say. For most observant adherents of Christianity, Sunday is observed observed as the Lord's Day and the day of Christ's resurrection. Where really, yeah, technically speaking, you would say that Christ arose on what's called Sunday, but I mean, it was never in the scriptures to, keep every quote unquote Sunday as a memorial to Christ's resurrection. And it was at the beginning of that Sabbath at sundown when he arose. But we got a lesson on that on the channel too if you're not familiar and want to see more on that. Anyways, um, what I'm just seeing as the International Organization of Standardization standard recognizes Sunday as the seventh day of the week. What? Hello. Now they know doggone well like Sunday ain't the seventh day of the week. Stop it. But that's just we already know how this thing goes. In this kingdom, you don't see lies left and right. It says the name Sunday, the day of the sun, is derived from Hellenistic astrology. Okay, Sunday is the day of the sun. That's why church is held on Sunday for most adherents to Christianity, right? All right. I'm taking my time on a lot of this right now, but let's just keep going. Um, I'm just building up for a lot of different things. We gonna all come full circle on it. So I like to kind of start out normally with a quick 1-2 punch just to keep y'all going. But I mean, sometimes you got to build up, and that's what I'm trying to do on this one. So let's keep going. It says Sunday in Christianity, pagan correspondence. Why is there pagan correspondence? I thought this was the Lord's saying, It says in Roman culture, Sunday was the day of the sun god. Okay, we are in Roman culture right now, so that might as well be in American culture. Okay, in 2023 culture, Sunday is the day of the sun god. In pagan theology, the sun was the source of life, giving warmth and illumination to mankind. See, that's what it really means. The sun is just a symbol to represent illumination on the left-hand side, or at least not uniformly, but in pagan theology, the sun is shown as just a symbol. Okay, the sun is a symbol for that light on the left-hand side. Okay, it was the center of a popular cult among Romans who would stand at dawn to catch the first rays of sunshine as they prayed. Okay. It says the opportunity to spot in the nature worship of their heathen neighbors a symbolism valid to their own faith was not lost on the Christians. One of the church fathers, St. Jerome, would declare, if pagans called the Lord's Day the day of the sun, we willingly agree. What? So St. Jerome, one of the quote unquote church fathers, he's saying that he agrees with pagans. If pagans call the Lord's Day the day of the sun or Sunday, we willingly agree. For today, the light of the world is raised. Today is revealed the Son of Justice with healing in his rays. This is a reference to Malachi 4:2. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. But you see, like we started out with, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. One of his devices is deception. Okay? One of his devices is deception. And one way to deceive people is to have you thinking that you are worshiping Christ, but you really are worshiping Baal. You're really worshiping the sun god. Okay? By mixing these things in together and making them look similar, you won't know the difference between the two. That's why, if you came from the church system, you thought that you were doing the right thing. You didn't think you were worshiping Baal, at least for the most part. I mean, some of y'all may have did, but for the most part, you don't know, because Satan, again, one of his devices or one ways that he deceives the people, those that are not meant to get it, is by conflicting the two, the righteous and the wicked, or the right hand path and the left hand path, so you don't know the difference. Okay. A similar consideration may have influenced the choice of the date of Christmas as the day of the winter solstice, whose celebration was part of the Roman cult of the sun. They tell you that Christmas is a Roman cult of the sun celebration. They tell you that directly here, pretty much. Okay, to influence the date of Christmas as the day of the winter solstice, because Christmas is nowhere in the Bible at all. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that part. I didn't want anything out of that, but I did want to grab this really quickly. It says Christian usage. I mean, I could get that, but just for the sake of time, I'm gonna skip here. It says on March 321, or March 7, year 321. So that's 321 AD, meaning how this is year 2023, 1700 years, prior to this year, give or take 2 years. You have March 321, where you had Constantine I, Rome's first Christian emperor, decreed that Sunday would be observed as a Roman day of rest. He said, on the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. You see, he called Sunday the venerable day of the sun. The thing is that Christianity was what we call today as modern day Christianity. It was pretty much built off of Constantine I, which was a Roman emperor. So the system that we see today is all Roman, aka Babylonian, aka Egyptian, aka pagan. Okay, that's why you have the day of rest not being on the Sabbath, which is the seventh day, but on the first day, which is Sunday, or the quote unquote venerable day of the sun to the pagans, including him being Constantine I, because he was a pagan. All right. So this is the foundation of Christianity. Okay. And this is well known. One thing to clear up really quickly, we got Acts chapter 11, verse 26. It says, and when he had found him, he brought him into Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. Now, when you see the word Christians in the Bible, it literally just means the followers of Christ. That's it. When you see the word Christians today, it means an adherent to Christianity, not a follower of Christ, of the Bible on the right-hand path. It means an adherent, at least generally accepted or more broadly accepted as an adherent to Christianity. Those are two completely different things. There's a huge difference. It may sound the same. I'm going to say this one more time. When you see the word Christians in the Bible, it is not the same thing as a Christian today. A Christian today is an adherent to the religion known as Christianity. A Christian in the Bible is just a follower of Christ, because it was not accepted at this time for all of our people to follow Christ. Okay, because our people were just basically fulfilling prophecy that Christ would be a stumbling block unto them. Okay, that they would not accept him, like in Isaiah chapter 53. Our people are fulfilling prophecy. Okay, so once you understand that difference too, it helps you a lot to see that these things, these same words like Christianity and Christian and Christ, These words are used to deceive the people. Okay. Now, I'm not saying the word in itself. I mean, those that are using those words to deceive the people. Okay. In this society, in this Roman society, or like that Wikipedia entry, this Roman culture. All right. Christianity, it says here in this Wikipedia entry, Christianity is an Abrahamic monotheistic, meaning mono meaning one, a belief in one deity or one God, religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. It is the world's largest and most widespread religion with roughly 2.4 billion followers, representing 1/3 of the global population. Look, if you believe anything that 1/3 of the global population believes in, then you know you off. Because really, most people don't know too much of nothing. All right, you really want to believe, you want to understand only what 1/3 of 1% of people in a global population understand, not 1/3. That's awful. Okay, most people don't pretty much know too much of nothing. Just to be real, man, most people just not, they not really that smart. Okay, just to be real, just to be honest here, no disrespect to nobody individually. I'm just saying. But anyways, see, this is a religion. This word Christianity, or this religion Christianity, is not found in the Bible anywhere. Okay, it's just not. Now, let's go into the differences again between Christianity and what they call here early Christianity. And matter of fact, let me go back here really quickly. It says right here, Christianity began in the 1st century after the birth of Jesus as a Judaic sect with Hellenistic influence in the Roman province of Judea. So they just trying to put a starting point on some Christianity began in a, no, it didn't. Christianity never began because it's not in the Bible at all. That religion known as Christianity. But why did they make a difference here? Look, it says early Christianity because they really know. They know what it is. You just have to know what you're looking at to know the difference. It says early Christianity up to the First Council of Nicaea in 325 spread from the Levant across the Roman Empire and beyond. Originally, this progression was closely connected to already established Jewish centers in the Holy Land and the Jewish diaspora. The first followers of Christianity were Jews who had converted to the faith, i.e., Jewish Christians. What are they telling you right here? The first followers of Christianity were Jews who had converted. What they're saying is that the word Christian in the Bible, or the word Christian in the Bible was only ever referring to Israelites, to the Jews, to the people of the covenant. Okay, the Most High's chosen people. Those are the only Christians. Okay, just in modern times, you have anyone that can accept the title of being a Christian, no matter what nation that you come from, nationality, or what we call today race. That wasn't always the case. Bars. No, but for real, that wasn't always the case. You can't just have a so-called white man, so-called Asian, so-called Arab, so-called African, so-called black man all claim to be Christians. That wasn't the case. Okay. At the time that, like we read in Acts chapter 11, these were only Israelites. When you look up the word church, it just means a gathering of Israelites. That's it. Okay. But now, to conflate everything and bring confusion among the people, we have everything put together to where anyone can claim to be a Christian. Okay. But that wasn't how it always was. But keep in mind that on the left-hand path, Baal, he's the God of the nations. Remember Psalms 96:5, right? The gods of the nations are idols. On the left-hand path, Baal or Adonis or Tammuz or Molech or wherever, he's the savior of all nations. So that's why they always have all nations together, okay, worshiping the same deities. Because if you're not worshiping the Most High, you're worshiping a false idol. There is only one. All right, there's only one true living power. Okay, and that's it. Everything else is pagan worship. But let's go to this again. It says early Christianity up to the first Council of Nicaea in 325. Let's go to the Council of Nicaea. It says the Council of Nicaea, or more of the Greek rendering would be Nicaea. Pagan Emperor Constantine used Christianity to unify church and state. It says here in this article, the Council of Nicaea, also known as the First Council of Nicaea, was the first ecumenical council of the Christian church. Okay. So this is the foundation of the modern day Christian church. Not what we read about in the Bible. That's two completely different things. Okay. You can't read the Bible and assume everything is exactly the same. Even though they use the same words, it doesn't mean that those words meant the same thing that they did 2,000 years ago. For example, like the word church, like I said, the word church today, you more think of a building. Okay, you more think of a denomination or something, but the word church just meant a gathering of Israelites in the Bible. But anyways, it says this council, which was convened in 325 AD, was assembled by the Roman Emperor Constantine. Okay. About 300 bishops from across the Roman Empire met in Nicaea or Nicaea to discuss theological issues, particularly the teachings of Arianism. One of the most important outcomes of the Council of Nicaea was the formulation of the Nicene Creed, which is still used, meaning modern day, as a profession of faith by many of the Christian denominations. So this meeting, it changed basically everything. It changed the path of the world. This Council of Nicaea did. Notice it said the pagan Emperor Constantine. Okay, because Constantine, what he successfully did is he mixed in paganism, meaning the worship of pagan deities, man-made deities of planets, of stars, of the sun and the moon. He mixed that together with what we know today as Christianity, okay? To make it appear that if you are a Christian, or well, when I say that today, that was the result of it. So today, if you call yourself a Christian, you do worship these things unbeknownst to you, okay? But it came from this because he was successfully able to mix in paganism with different, not ideologies per se, but different concepts of the scriptures, okay? Different concepts of the scriptures are mixed in together with Christianity today. Okay, it says, what was the purpose of the Council of Nicaea? In 324 AD, Constantine became the sole ruler of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. Although not a Christian himself at that time, he was only baptized on his deathbed in 337 AD. Yeah, right. He allowed Christians, through the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, to practice their faith without being oppressed. As the ruler of the Roman Emperor, Constantine hoped that Christianity would be used to unify his subjects. So Christianity was used as a political move at this time. This Roman Emperor Constantine, which was over, was the Roman Empire was in rulership at this time. Okay, so whoever's in rulership, they have dominion over the spiritual system of the whole world. So, like right now, you have Christianity, which is the most popular religion because the so called white man is using Christianity right now just as a covert way to inject sun god worship, moon worship, so on and so forth amongst the people without people really understanding what they're doing because that's their preferred method. Not to tell you what they're doing directly, but by doing it and making it seem like it's something else because, hey, they are the seed of Satan. But anyways, the vision within the faith, however, meant that this would be difficult to achieve. In order to unify the Christian faith, the emperor convened the Council of Nicaea. Okay, so I think that's all I want to get on this part, but I do want to go more and talk about Constantine himself. Because again, this council, which you notice they haven't even talked about like the scriptures in itself. Like Constantine wasn't trying to get the scriptures right. Let's make sure we got pure and sound doctrine. Let's make sure we keep the commandments according to the Bible. That's not what Constantine was about. He was trying to unify everyone together. Now remember, the word Catholic just means general or universal, right? Or unified, put everyone together, all nations together. Okay, that's because that's what Catholicism or being a Catholic, which is really all Christianity comes from, is Catholicism, is unification. Okay, everyone being pagan together. All right. So it says was the Roman, was the Emperor Constantine a true Christian or was he a secret pagan? Was the Emperor Constantine a true Christian or was he a secret pagan? I can answer that for you. He was a secret pagan, or really not even secret, he was just a pagan. Okay, so the guy that's responsible for the doctrine of the Christian church today was a pagan. Therefore, the the doctrine or the religion known today as Christianity is pagan. It was formed by pagans for pagans. Okay, believe that or not. And knowing this history is important because you can't just go to church and try to fit in. And like I said earlier, just try to hide and, just do what everybody else is doing with no consequences. It don't work like that. Okay. Whether you know what's going on or not, we will be held responsible for our actions. Okay. What the scriptures call our works. All right. Now it says Constantine the Great is known in history as the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. Yeah, right. When I say Christianity, meaning just, the actual following of Christ. However, legends and archaeological evidence suggests a different story. It seems that Constantine had a secret about his faith, which was hidden for centuries. Constantine built many churches. He celebrated faith in one, Christian God and his son, Jesus, by creating many of the great churches in the world, including St. Peter's in Rome, the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, the Church of Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, so on and so forth. Okay. It says something very important for us to understand here. It says Constantine became emperor in 306 AD and ruled for 31 years. According to tradition, just before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, Rome, in 312, he experienced a vision of a flaming cross with the inscription, "In his sign conquer." As the legends say, he understood it as a sign from the Christian God. There's no Christian God. It's just you just got the Most High. There's no Christian God. Asking him to convert. Constantine believed that he would be awarded with unusual power, the support of a deity, and the greatest kingdom of the world if he followed through with the vision. So it says here that Constantine, he saw a vision of a flaming cross with the inscription, "In his sign conquer." So we're going to get to that in just a second. But let's continue to read about Constantine here, because this part right here is important to understand. Okay, let's keep going though. By the decree of Constantine, Christianity became the official religion of Rome in 324. However, did he really become a true Christian? Or was he just seeking the approval of powerful bishops for political purpose? That's it. He was just looking to seeking the power or he was just seeking the support of powerful bishops for political purposes, and that's all that was. Okay. So Constantine, this is not Constantine either, by the way. He was a so-called black man. But, oh no, that's Eusebius. Eusebius was a so-called black man too, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, Constantine, it says, a Christian who worshiped the sun. Constantine grew up in the court of the Emperor Constantine Caloris, who was a Neoplatonist and a devotee of the unconquered sun. His mother, Empress Helena, was a Christian who traveled through the Middle East searching for the key sites connected to Jesus. Okay, it says, according to ancient texts, she identified important places mentioned in the Bible, but young Constantine didn't appear to follow his mother's religious interests. He worshiped the sun, or was devoted to Mithraism. So Constantine, again, the person who was over the Council of Nicaea, which is the foundation of modern day Christianity, he worshiped the sun, meaning that Christianity is based on and was founded upon the worship of the sun. Okay, does that make sense? After his official conversion to Christianity in 312, Constantine built his triumphal arch in Rome. Let's take a look at this triumphal arch in Rome. It says it was interesting that it wasn't dedicated to the symbols of Christianity, but to the unconquered sun. That's not, interesting. That was on purpose. During his reign, he changed many aspects connected with pagan cults, but that doesn't mean that he stopped the cultivation of old traditions. He often named them differently, but still allowed for pagan practices in many ways. For example, in 321, Constantine legislated that the celebration of the Day of the Sun should be a state holiday, a day off for everyone. Okay, this is where you have Sunday being a day off for everyone, even now, for the most part, of course. Of course, we know that if you run your own business, you can choose to have, you choose to work on Sunday or have your business open on Sunday, and a lot of retail stores open on Sunday, of course. But, for, most banks and a lot of businesses, they're off on Sunday, right? On the so-called weekend. This is the foundation of that. These things don't just come out of nowhere. It's just not a new thing on earth where the day of the sun or Sunday is a day off for everyone. Okay. In 330, Constantine set up a statue, which is a key to understanding his private beliefs. Well, that's not the only thing that's a key to understand his private beliefs. All you have to do is just understand that he wasn't following the scriptures. He was, you know, following the dictates of his pagan deities that he worshiped. But, anyways, after decades of supporting Christianity, he appeared as a statue of the sun god in the forum. Okay? Take a look at this. It says the column of Constantine. So this is what's called a phallic symbol. Okay. Now where's the other one at? Right here. At the column, there was a sacred place which contained relics, including other parts of crosses. Um, let's see. A column of Constantine in its original form, with the statue of Constantine as Apollo, which we've talked about, on top. So, I'm trying to get all of it in once, but it's all good. So this is not Constantine, what he really looked like. This is not an original depiction for real, but either way, you see he has a sun disk on his head. Okay. He was a sun god worshiper. And this is where you get Christianity from today. All right. Very, very simple. But one thing I want to go back up to is how it's set up here that Constantine, according to tradition, just before the Battle of Milvian Bridge, he experienced a vision of a flaming cross with the inscription, "In his sign conquer." Now we know the sign of a cross today is a very common Christian symbol. It's supposed to be for Christ, but it is not. Okay? I'm going to grab this really quick. Matter of fact, I'm going to get that later. Let's go straight to this. Matter of fact, let's go straight to this. So, this is the book, The Two Babylons, which I always tell y'all is a great way to kind of understand some of the left-hand side symbols and pagan deities and see how it relates to today. It's a really good read. Even if you don't read it all the way through, just to kind of scan through and see different things, it shows like a ton of words, how it relates today, and how the Catholic and pagan and Roman systems today, how it correlates to today and the pagan gods of old. So, just to let y'all know. But let's see, it says the sign of the cross. There is yet one more symbol of the Romish worship to be noticed, and that is the sign of the cross. In the papal system, as is well known, the sign of the cross and the image of the cross are all in all. So the sign of the cross and the image of the cross, like we see today, is the same. No prayer can be said, no worship engaged in, no step also can be taken without the frequent use of the sign of the cross. The cross is upon as the grand charm, as the great refuge in every season of danger, in every hour of temptation, as infallible preservative from all of the powers of darkness. The cross is adored with all the homage due only to the Most High, and for anyone to call it in the hearing of a genuine Romanist by the scriptural term, the accursed tree. Let me get down to it. That's where I'm trying to get at right here. Okay, it says the same sign of the cross that Rome now worships was used in the Babylonian mysteries, was applied by paganism to the same magic purposes, was honored with the same honors. That which is now called the Christian cross was originally no Christian emblem at all, but was the mystic Tau, or just the T of the Chaldeans, or the Babylonians, and the Egyptians, the true original form of the letter T, the initial of the name of Tammuz, which in Hebrew, radically the same as the ancient Chaldee, was found on coins. That mystic Tau was marked in baptism on the foreheads of those initiated in the mysteries and was used in every variety of way as a most sacred symbol. Translation: that cross is wicked, man. Translation: the cross that you see today that's associated with Christianity, it is for the god Tammuz. It is not for Christ. That's a translation of what this is saying here, and it's been around since ancient Babylon. Okay, Babylon, the Egyptians, the Romans, they all use that T for Tammuz. Why do you think that they hung Yahweh Christ on a cross? Okay, that was in veneration of their God that they worship. Okay, not only was that a common method of persecuting someone is to hang them on a cross, that also was for their deity Tammuz. Okay. Actually, what we're going to do, let's split this up. I'm going to continue with the next part on part 2. So this is going to be part 1 of Christianity is sun god worship. And then we're going to pick this up in part 2. Shalom.